Hello, everyone. I just woke up not too long ago, so that's why we were on the stream, the starting soon screen a little bit longer than usual. But today, as with the last few days, just another Warriors All Stars grinding stream. Nothing too crazy. Um, And I don't really have much to say on that. I wanna get quickly started on the game because I my goal is to reach max regard with OKA today. We are relatively close, a bit past the halfway point, and that is good enough for me to believe that I think we can do it today. Um, yeah. I really want to be done with her. I don't hate Oka. She's not like my least favorite character or anything like that. But I would say she's around the average for characters from this game. I don't particularly love her. So the sooner we can be done with her, the better. Um, After yesterday's stream, I didn't play anymore after stream yesterday. But we reached we reached max rank with 15 characters. So still have a decent amount to go, but definitely not impossible to get done this stream. And of course also the quest list. We still have these two. We are nearly done with this quest, and then this one is kind of just a matter of playing long enough to get it done. These materials aren't rare. They're pretty common in most stages. So I think we can, along with Oka, I believe we can get at least one of those two quests done today, if not both. Something very not great about this game setup is whenever you're on a map that has an archery point and any other and the enemy has even a single archery base acquired, you pretty much never want to enter one of your own already claimed bases, because if you do, there is a chance that arrows will be raining from the sky, and it is an extremely annoying thing to walk through because you get interrupted for several seconds whenever you walk under the rain. Even immediately after capturing a base, they'll start raining down. You pretty much just want to leave the second you're able to. a rare situation of actually being able to claim the sword bases. They have like an actual name, but I do not remember the exact actual terminology. It's different for like each game that has a similar type of base. And I don't remember exactly what it's called in this one, but there's a sword icon. Might as well just call it that. Such a shame that you can't use your hero skills during the period of time while the character messages are going through at the very end of a stage. It of course makes sense. Like you've won the stage already, but most of the time, once you capture that final base, a hero skill recharge item appears, and it's completely worthless because you can't even use it. But that little extra bit, that tiny bit of extra regard increase that would come from that would add up so much. It would be such a helpful tiny bit of extra increase. So apologies if I don't talk too much this stream. As I mentioned on the Blue Sky post, this stream will be primarily focusing on prioritizing getting max Oka no matter what. And the more I talk, the slower I am at that. I still will be talking this stream. Like, this isn't gonna be a completely commentary void stream, but I'm not gonna force myself to talk more than necessary. Since this is mostly a gameplay focused stream for today, just so I can get those max regards as quickly as possible. I would love to start the next stream playing as another character. Which most likely the next character that we will swap to after finishing Oka. I had a list of the order I originally did characters when I was going through story mode. And the next would be Kasumi, a character that I also am not a huge fan of. In fact, I think I like her even less than Oka. But she does at the very least have a very different playstyle to Oka. So it will be at least a change of pace. Honestly, for max efficiency, I probably should just start rushing the stage objective. What I normally do is I run around to the extra bases, capture those just for the hero skill resets. And those are good to get, but since I am since I am also trying to simultaneously finish those last two quests, that way I can start going to New Game Plus resets, which will make the regard grinding itself faster. I may want to just focus on stage objectives. The only problem though is that in order to do that, I should also be trying to get material increasing stages, production bases, treasure storehouses, those. And obviously, as you can see, none of those have spawned right now. So I basically have to get random pop-ups of those, which isn't too hard to get. Like considering that there's two of them, I can get either production base or treasure storehouse. Not too hard to get at least one of them semi-frequently, but it is a bit annoying. A bit of extra time spent on the world map that I would rather not have if not necessary. I'm not sure whether I would consider getting the resets, the Hanukkah resets, 3+ times in a row at the very beginning of the stage. I'm not sure whether I would consider that good or bad luck. Because on one hand, that is obviously what I want. That's the best way to quickly increase regard, is constantly getting those resets, but also getting them at the beginning of a stage is so obnoxious, especially in these stages where where the timing is a little bit strict. Not that strict, but just slightly. It's a bit annoying because I just stand at the very opening base doing nothing but spamming the face buttons. Wow, right bumper and the face buttons. I forgot there's an extra button associated with them. Makes it significantly more engaging. It's a very fun way to play the game. so frustrating always seeing the hero skills refilled at the end of a stage, but because it won't let me do any attack inputs, I can't use them. Like, they're all there. You can see them visibly at the end of a stage, but those are just non-existent hero skills. They're regard points that I can't get, unfortunately. It's such a fun game, the face button. The face button plus right bumper game. My favorite musou. Oh yeah, 3 all at once at Matt. I can do a reset, a full reset, full new set of characters. It's always the best feeling when you get 3 at once. So much instant progress. Instant satisfaction, my favorite. 30 minutes in the stream and we've already made pretty good progress. Even though they were already partially felled, getting 3 characters to max rank within such a short time, not bad. We're not making bad time. I do think that we can actually reach the max regard with every other character with OKA by the end of the stream. I'll probably end up streaming for around 3.5 hours today. Considering the time we're making now, I think we can get it done. I don't think it will be too bad. I have not been paying attention to the objective this stage, so hopefully the ally on the top left doesn't end up getting in too much trouble. Getting to them will take a bit of a minute. It's always so hard to tell whether a hot spring event is just a normal one or if it's a special one. You get a different message at the end of it. That's the main way to determine it. But for the animation beforehand, there's like a slight difference, but it's very hard to notice. The reason I bring it up is because of that hot spring event. I had assumed initially was like, oh, this is a special one. I can check that off the list, but no. Just a normal one, unfortunately. Also, I hope the audio is relatively fine. I did mess with settings very slightly, but I've been checking specifically the captions, how much they're picking up. And a decent amount did get cut off there, so I'm not sure if just didn't pick it up or what. But hopefully it's fine. If not, I can always check the VOD and just fix it next stream. As I have mentioned quite a few times the last few streams, I am not an audio engineer. I do not know shit about audio, so kind of figuring out that whole part of the streaming setup as I'm going. One very annoying thing about using both hero skills and even regular skills, or special attack as it's called in this game, it will very frequently turn your character around like 180 degrees. I don't know why. It only does it sometimes. It's very inconsistent, but it's super annoying, especially when you're trying to play quickly. Is not the most fun when it happens in a deathmatch battle, especially, the insta-kill ones, because you get turned around and you're in a group of enemies. Wow. Very, very bad recipe for disaster there.
できて嬉しいです。マリー、頑張ってお手伝いしますね。
俺が相手になろう。行くぞ。
あれは幻影か。分かっていても戦いにくいな。もう仕事の時間。これがモノノフの力だ。
早々にお引き取り願う。
望まれたから敵将、私が打ち果たした。オーカさん、すごいです。私にもこんな素敵な魂を褒める。花とね、結果オラお姉ちゃんがいたらな。開始ね。あなたのよし、やったな。
Oh my god, I just want to go do the mission objective. Stop giving me so many resets. I mean, it is technically a good thing for me to get said resets, but it's so obnoxious getting them back to back. Because I always have to use them. Like, if I want to keep up max efficiency for the regard grind, I kinda have to use them the second they're always available. But like, it's so annoying. It would be worse if I wasn't getting them, to be fair, but not always the most fun to redo it over and over and over, especially not in a row. So close to the winning post one. If I can just get one more stage that has its items, I think I should be able to finish it. I think that's all I really need. Hopefully that will increase the regard a decent amount. Pretty much that entire stage was mostly just spamming skills, so okay, did a decent amount. Quite a bit, yeah. So I am satisfied with that level of increase. Now let's see if any progress was made with the quests, however. Well, nope. This one, nope. Not either. Why is Ryu behind? The funniest thing is, I was expecting Ayane to be the one that took the longest because her cooldown is generally longer than the other two. I guess somehow Ryu is then it ended up being the one that fell behind in regard. Even though I guess, does it kind of make sense? There were a couple of times where I used the other skills, but his was still not even on cooldown, but just in its animation, so that could be why. Very strange though. I did not expect Ayane to be one of the two that maxed out before Ryu. It's also possible, and something that I haven't really thought of before now, it is possible that different characters will have different rates of regard increase. That probably is the case, like just inherently. But it's kind of something that I've never noticed before now, so I'm not entirely sure if that is the case. Oh, let's go. Looking at the chat. Okay, so it didn't show through because I have a lot of ban terms to prevent this. But first spot appeared in chat. Let's go. Been waiting for that. I think bots on Twitch channels are like some of my favorite like, dumb things that show up, because like surely some people fall for them. There has to be. There's no way, because if they didn't, they wouldn't make them so. There wouldn't be so many that flood so many like smaller streamers. But like, who the fuck clicks on the link? I mean, it doesn't even technically have a link. It's like the fucking a non-link because there's a part that says remove the space. But like, I genuinely, I've never known someone to actually click on those. It's so interesting. I feel like there's no way that they're making that much money from them to be so prevalent. But I guess so. Maybe they are. It is very funny though. Not even something I'm really upset about, because one, it's blocked. But it is just very funny. God damn it. Of course, I ended up letting INA use her skill right before I was about to get a reset on two of them. So, it's so strange how, like, it's not strange, but it's very funny how certain characters, both as allies, like as support characters, but also even as enemies, because they use those support skills, even when you're fighting against them, there are some that are just wildly unbalanced. They're it's such a pain in the ass to fight. Obviously, the worst one is OKA, the character I'm playing right now. If you fight against her, she gets invincibility for quite a while. A close second is now Tara. She has not quite invincibility, but more so a sort of Pokemon focus sash type effect, where she'll be stuck at 1 HP until the timer on the skill runs out. But INA is not too bad if you're playing normally. If you're playing normally, INA is not really too bad to fight, because, well, if you're playing normally, having your skills disabled isn't that big of a deal. Hero skills are good, but they're not, like, so good that it's the end of the world if you can't use them. But in my case, because the entire thing I'm doing right now is just grinding out regard, which grinding regard requires using hero skills as frequently as possible. It's a pretty big problem when it gets used on me in that situation. Like in the particular way that I am playing right now, it is probably honestly an even bigger like annoyance to fight against than the Oka or Naotora ones. All three of her are obnoxious, but the INA one is particularly obnoxious when playing in this particular way. It's a playstyle dependent kind of annoyance, but a playstyle that I am using right now, so not the most ideal to have happen.
今は誇ろう。私たちの勝利を。
Oh damn, that didn't increase much at all. I guess it is true that I didn't. That wasn't the longest stage, so I didn't get the most opportunities to use the hero skills. But I would love to max out Ryu Hayabusa. How many are left? Let's see. Okay, so not counting the three that I'm working on right now. Aside from those three, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. And I'm not going to, but if I really wanted to, I could technically just ignore the four special characters, the three original characters that are only for this game, and Opuna, because none of those can appear in the bathhouse, and none of them appear as, none of them have friendship events or hot spring events. They are pretty much just a waste to max out their regard. I still plan to, just because, like, if I'm going for every other one, I might as well go for those last four, but it is not the most necessary. So I realistically could just entirely ignore them if I really wanted to. Depending on how exhausted I get near the end of this whole maxing out every character, I may start doing that. Or what I may do is, because it's not necessary and it would make it less tedious on stream, what I may do, I may only max out the characters that are necessary for friendship events. And then those last four, I may just kind of put on the back burner and come back to later. Also, hi Flamingo. Hello. I hope your day is going well. I don't know what time zone is for you. For me, it's still relatively early morning, so I hope if similar time zone, I hope your morning is going well, and if not, whatever time zone it is, I hope it's going well. Today we're just pretty much just trying to max out Oka. We're very close. I was just looking at the regard report, and not counting the last four, counting those last four, we're pretty close. And even counting those last four, if you look at the sum of bonds menu, we only have about a quarter of the way to go. Going coffee. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I didn't drink coffee this morning. I don't most days. Any days that I can get away with, I generally try not to, since it's not the most healthy, but definitely feel that a lot of days. When I first started the stream, it's been going for about an hour, so a bit more awake now, but the beginning of stream, I started not long after I woke up. I woke up probably about close to 2 hours ago, so at the beginning of stream, I also definitely felt the coffee desire. But I think now I'm awake enough to function relatively well. But yeah, it's nice to see you though. Uh,
敵将、私が打ち果たした。
You know what, since I'm just walking to the main enemy point anyways, might as well go into musou rush mode. It's not the most efficient method to for doing the regard grinding because it does put you in a state where for at minimum like 30 seconds you just can't even use any hero skills. I think it does maybe still give you some regard points just for going into musou rush mode period, but I don't think it gives nearly as much as just straight up using the hero skills. But in a map like this, where there's not as many enemy bases to capture, and most of them aren't directly in the path of going toward the main objective, I generally ignore them, so I don't get quite as many opportunities to use said hero skills. So for this particular map, it's not too bad of an idea to use. Why'd you get to use them twice in a row at the start? So the reason for why is, so the character Honoka, the one at the top left, she has Confidant 5, but I always keep her equipped despite that, and the reason for why is that her hero skill, what it does is it has I believe it's 1 in 3 chance to reset all of your other hero skills every time you use it. So it is random chance based, so it's not always a guaranteed thing, which makes it not, if you get bad luck, it's not the most efficient to have, but generally it's relatively more effective than not having it. And even if it doesn't even if it doesn't reset the hero skill cooldowns, it also has a chance to reset your special skill cooldown. And that normally wouldn't matter too much for hero skill grinding. However, I have a perk equipped on my equipment that makes it so that every time I use my special skill, which is this one right here, it slightly resets the cooldown on the hero skills. Not fully, it doesn't fully reset it, so it's not quite as good as Honoka's skill, but it does halfway reset it, and that alone is still pretty good. Especially considering that this game gives you your skill usage, your special attack usage. I gotta start calling it special skill. That's technically what it's called in this game, not skill, because skill is the hero skills. But the special attack, it's really easy to accumulate special attack points, and you can just constantly use it and reset them even more. The main goal is just getting as many hero skill usages off as possible. And this is the setup that does that the best. Unfortunately, a very, very tedious setup. Not the most enjoyable. I assume probably not the most enjoyable to watch either. I feel like this is largely a pretty quiet stream, not even too much commentary, because I know it's not the most interesting, but it's the method that's best toward getting the max regard and we've made pretty good progress despite only been streaming for about an hour. Already making faster progress than yesterday. So we definitely should be able to max out Oka's regard by the end of stream. Shouldn't be hard at all. So, and as long as we do that, I will be satisfied with the outcome of the stream. Forgot to swap out, I forgot to swap out Ryu Hayabusa. I did not notice that he reached max confidant. That would be a very, very wasted map had I kept him in for that. But luckily I thought to check the second I entered the map, so that's good, but in this grind, even a single wasted slot is not the most ideal. Not the best for my hands either. Luckily, I don't have too much issues with hand pain problems, but if I ever did get those problems, they would likely come from this game. a very button mashy, repetitive motion type of 100% completion for this one. I can't even hear William, Mr. Neo in the background as I was about to kill Ubu. He's just like, prepare to die. He's doing all the work. I would not have been able to win that. I would not have been able to win that stage if not for him doing his little thing in the background. Just a little guy doing his own little thing on the side. Now let's see, where is the quest at? I got one material from one of the stages, but I don't know which. And this is making decent progress, so hopefully we should be able to get both of these finished relatively soon. The faster we can go back into New Game Plus runs, the faster the regard grind will be. And technically I don't have to get all of those requests done. The game doesn't track them, it's fully reset every New Game Plus run. But it would be neat to get it at least once, so. But those requests when you finish them, they do give a lot of regard points, so. Oh, I wasn't even paying enough attention to notice what the stage objective was. The stage objective being the rescue allies one on this particular stage is not my favorite. I've already mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of the rescue ally stages, but I think this particular stage may be my least favorite one to do it on. And the reason why is because of how spread out the ally spawns are at. One is at the bottom left corner, one is in the center, one is at the top right, and you start from the bottom right corner. Also, from what I've noticed, more often than not, the middle one will end up being the lowest ranking one, so they're meant to be the one you start with. But that results in needing to go to the middle, then the bottom left, then the bottom right, and you have to do that before any of them die. It's not the most ideal. Luckily this game isn't the most difficult even at its hardest, so it's not like it's impossible to get up there, but see, there was a notification at the bottom of the screen that said Nobunaga Oda is in trouble. He's the one at the top right, so not quite dead yet, but it is a bit unfortunate. There is a very likely chance I won't reach him in time. If not too big of a deal. Resetting these stages doesn't take too long, but still prefer if I didn't have to do that. But it wouldn't quite be the end of the world if I did. Oh shit, okay. It did happen. Oh well. I think No, I was gonna say, this may be the first time I've been defeated on stream. No, I think last stream I died like twice because I wasn't paying attention. It is the first loss I've had this stream. Luckily, as I've mentioned, game's not too hard. Getting defeats aren't the most common, but I think every time I have ever gotten a loss, it has always been on one of these types of stages. They're so strict with the timing, and depending on your luck on which stage type you get, they can either be really easy and simple, or they can take fucking several attempts. And this is probably the single worst stage to get to get this type of mission on. Not the most fun. But the one upside is that even though this stage does suck for this mission, luckily there is a lot of enemy and even pre-captured ally bases along the path to the objectives, which means a lot of free hero skill resets. However, of course, the problem with that is that using those hero skills takes time, and that is time that could be used reaching the objective. So, if you do end up using a ton of hero skills like I've been doing, it gives you even less actual time to reach the allies without them dying. So it's a bit of some pros, some cons, but you know, balances out a bit to not make it as insufferable as it otherwise would be. Luckily, I got the movement speed and attack speed increase from rescuing that ally. It's only temporary, but it is long enough to be very helpful to reaching Lu Bu down here, because he is in trouble. Now, if you want to do the safest option usually for these, it is to just, as soon as someone gets the prompt that they're in trouble, rush to their side, restore their health, because if an ally is in trouble, if you go back to their location, they will restore their health. And the safest option is to run to an ally whenever they're in trouble, and then either go back to your original objective, or to just stay there and clear out those enemies. However, it's obviously not the most efficient. It's really slow. It's the safest option, but it's not the most effective one. In fact, it's very, very inefficient. But again, in the situation of a particularly difficult stage variant, is a very safe option. But you will not see me personally do it very often. Like I said, it's not the most fun to go through that route, and considering that I already spend a bit too much time in these stages compared to what I should, I don't like extending the time I spend in them more than necessary, even if it does mean a bit of a risk. Because, you know, if I do die and have to restart the stage from the beginning, obviously that's even a bigger time loss, but it's not too bad of a time loss, and it's not super common for that to happen, so generally I don't worry about it. Play the stage normally and it's usually fine, but in the situation where it's not, well, that is a safer option. Your existence hurts me. Be gone. You know, he's such a fucking asshole. The only Samurai Warriors game I've played is Samurai Warriors 1, and he's not in that game. So I would assume, I wonder if he's this much of an asshole in the actual main games, or if it's just an over-exaggeration of his character in here. Because he is such an asshole in this game. He even gets a crossover stage alongside Hajime Arima, where the entire thing, the entire like narrative, the whole joke of the crossover stage is that he's too much of an asshole to help people. It's pretty much going around trying to like recruit people to their side, if I remember correctly. And he is such an asshole that every time he goes to talk to any of them, he just immediately makes them pissed. And I wonder if he's quite that bad even in his original game. I think he is introduced in Samurai Warriors 2, so whenever I get back to that series, I should be able to find out if he really is quite that bad. pretty quickly, but it is a very funny little thing of his characterization in this game at least.
切り込むぞ。
Only three more needed for the winning post one. So close. It's so fucking close. The fact that that is the request we've been working on for 2 full streams, actually maybe even 3. I don't entirely remember if I started that one after or during the first stream. But even if it was just the last two, the fact we spent 2 full streams trying to get that single request completed is kind of crazy. It is a rare, the winning post materials are very rare, so it's not too surprising, but just very funny that we've spent that long on it. Sophie is so close. William's pretty close as well, but this is another situation of Sophie P. Not quite 1 point away, but like barely. Just fucking barely not there. It's such a shame. Always very, very obnoxious. But, assuming we do finish Sophie's, the next one, and possibly even Williams, that will leave only one. Actually, technically only one absolutely necessary character, since these are effectively bonus characters. So at minimum 1, and up to 5. So we're very close. We're very close to being done. Gonna be honest, I was kind of worried we'd be cutting it close with the OKA max regard for this stream. My goal is this stream as long as necessary to max that out. I did not expect it to happen so quickly. We're not quite fully there yet. You know, we do still have a couple left, but we're close enough that it's not really too much of a concern. Well, Sylvie is maxed. William is once again at the 1 point away from max state though, so but luckily because we have so few characters left to max out, it's not really too big of a concern. I think what I'm gonna do is to make the stream slightly less tedious and also make it a bit less dull for me personally as well. I'm gonna the extra bonus characters Opuna, Tamaki, Setsuna, and Chiki, I am going to set them aside and pretty much come back to those later, probably on my own time. Maybe I'll do like a bonus final roundup stream at the very end where I just go through and finish them for every character. Not entirely sure which I want to do, but there's not really any practical reason to max them out at this moment. So luckily, it's not too big of a concern if William doesn't max out as efficiently as possible, because I still have Rio to get. And Rio's the last real character that I need to max, so not as bad as it could be, luckily. Something that hasn't really come up until now, mostly by coincidence, is that this second tab of the hero skills, these are pretty much special like duo skills. They're ones that use two characters. I generally don't use them. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, they don't increase your regard any more than just using the hero skills normally. And for someone like Hanukkah, it is technically, it just combines both of their skills. It's not like some special new third skill. It is just, it's effectively just using both of them at the same time. However, with Hanukkah in particular, hers is literally just worse. Her version of it in a duo skill is just worse than doing it normally, because normally it resets all skills, including her own, if it procs that. However, if you do the duo hero skill, it only resets two characters hero skills, and it's the two not involved in the combo. So both characters, both Hanukkah herself, and in this case Rio, don't get theirs restored. It's such an odd thing, and it wouldn't be too weird if not for the fact that the normal variant of it does reset Hanukkah's, which means that if you do the special, combo two character version of it, you can't combo it several times, even if you get maximum luck and get it and do get the hero skill reset. You'll only get it that one time. You can't combo it. It's such an odd choice. And again, it would make sense. It's arguably more balanced than her normal variant, but when that normal variant exists and is just better, there's not really any reason to ever use the duo skill. Aw, their special attacks lined up. Yeah, Hajime and Oka, not the exact same special skill, but they're very similar, even down to their animations. So when you happen to use them, when Hajime is your enemy and you're Oka, or vice versa, and you both happen to use your skill at the same time, it looks very funny because they are, despite being very different characters, they are effectively using the same attack. Just a neat little funny visual. Now William is max. Now we just have Christophorus, however it's pronounced, and Rio. Rio may take a bit, since she is just at rank 1 at the moment, but does give us time to put a bit of points toward the bonus characters, even if they're not absolutely necessary. Let's see, any closer to this? Nope. We are a little bit closer to the Atelier Series 1 though. Those materials aren't particularly rare, luckily, so it shouldn't take too long to get that one. I think if I went all in on production base and treasure storehouse stages, probably get that one pretty quickly. The winning post one is the significantly higher concern one. 'King Hajime X Oka special yet again. Yeah, Hajime is a pretty common enemy unit. From what I've noticed, he's one of the more common ones. So, not too hard to have that little moment where they use the same special attack at the same time. Not too uncommon. Oh, damn it. Yeah, whenever she has that purple aura around her health bar, she can't die. She can still technically take damage, like, but she'll just stop at 1 health. Almost effectively the same as Oka's hero skill, but for some reason it's just handled slightly differently. I suppose it's different enough to make it different, but when fighting against it, it's basically exactly the same. And in the context of using that hero skill yourself on your own team, it just results in Naotara's being just worse. You would only ever want to use it in an emergency situation, and even then, Oka's would also be equally usable in an emergency situation. So it really doesn't have any benefits over Oka's special attack. It's very interesting how many very similar hero skills and special attacks that are in this game, and a lot of them just have one variant for one character that's just better than the other. And it's an odd balancing choice, but I was concerned that there are 30 characters making entirely unique skills and special attacks for every single one of them. Not the easiest, but I suppose Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, and even other crossover games, generally do that pretty well, so not sure what the problem was here. I suppose, again, as I've said in the past, this game does feel like it likely had a rushed or resource strict, at the very least, development cycle. So that may be part of the reason for why. But it does result in a fairly unbalanced feeling video game. And while I don't hate unbalanced, it can be fun sometimes. In this particular case, it's unbalanced in a way that results in certain characters kind of just feeling worse than others, and that's not always what you want in these games. Just having two characters that are very similar, but one being just better than the others, isn't always the best choice. There's always, I think in any game in general, but especially Musous with high character counts, there's always going to be a bit of unbalance. A few characters that are just better than the rest, or worse than the rest. A really good example is Suju in the older Dynasty Warriors games. he's generally considered one of, if not the worst character in those games. Very slow, doesn't have the damage output to back up his slow speed, but he is the reason why he's so bad isn't that he's just a worse version of an existing character. The reason why he's bad is because he has a unique playstyle. It's just not a very efficient playstyle. Whereas this game, all of the characters that I would consider worse than other characters aren't necessarily that they have bad playstyles. They just have very similar elements to other characters, and those other characters just kind of do it better. Unless I was doing what I'm doing right now and grinding regard, in a normal playthrough, there's not really ever any reason to use Nautara as as one of your supports over Oka. She's kind of just better, not significantly better. Nautara is not necessarily useless, but if you have the choice, it's generally better to choose one over the other.
緩みはしない。
So team battle. This stage type this is one that I haven't actually done on stream yet. It's one that's not super common. There are a couple that are preset on the map when you start, but very few. And as far as them randomly appearing on the map, they're also not the most common. These though are very simple. It is literally just 10 enemies will spawn and defeat those 10. It's one of the fastest maps, the fastest stage types, but it doesn't give a ton of opportunities for hero skill resets. So I generally don't go for them, but did want to show it off at least one time on stream. I'd like to show off every stage type at least once while streaming. Might as well. This is primarily a showcase of 100% completion of this game, so showing off everything, even things that I've already seen myself. Still not a bad idea.
今は誇ろう。私たちの勝利を。
See, like I said, one of the fastest stage types to complete. I believe that took only about 3 minutes total. But not a ton of benefit either. I did get Christophorus. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. I have never played the game she's from. Forget the name of it, but did get her up to confidant, so that's good. But I think she would have gotten up that high no matter which stage we did. So now the only traditional character left, the only non-bonus character left to get up is Rio, and she's already at 2, high 2 as well. So I'd say by the end of the hour we should be able to get her. And past that point, I may end the stream, may go a little bit longer. Not sure. I'll decide once I get there, but that would be the main goal. So once we hit that point, stream will be considered a success. Yeah, for dealing with especially lower ranked enemy units, but OKA especially, she is definitely the one you want to do this with, along with Nautara, because of their skills. The best way to quickly deal with them is to stun them, use whatever attack you have. Most characters have at least one attack that can stun the opponent, or juggle. Juggle or stun, depending on which is easier. Because if you do one of those things, they have a significantly lower chance of being able to use their skill. There will still be certain situations where they'll just jump out of it and use it anyways. There's a bit of RNG to it, but there's a significantly lower chance of that happening if they are stunned or in the air. So you generally want to do whatever necessary to prevent those particular characters from ever using their skill. Even for other non-invincibility hero skill characters, you still don't want them to use their skill because that does give them a couple of seconds of invincibility while that skill is being used. Some more than others, but it's not too big of a deal for most characters. OKA and Naotara though, those are easily the ones that you want to worry about the most. Because if they get theirs off, that's a full 30 seconds that is just being wasted effectively. I think once I have maxed out the Rio regard for Oka and gotten the last of the absolutely necessary characters, I think what I will do is spend the rest of the stream, shouldn't be too long, it'll only be about 10 to 20 minutes afterwards. I think I will spend the rest of the last bit of the stream setting up the hero card perks for every other character. That way we can just quickly swap to them once we eventually get to those characters, and I don't end up forgetting, because the last stream I was swapping characters a little bit, and was forgetting to equip them with their optimal cards, and those cards are absolutely necessary to use the right ones for the setup I'm doing. Because if I don't have the correct card equipped, then using my skill does nothing. It's significantly harder to quickly take out enemy objectives, and it just slows down the grind by a ton. And anything I can do to even slightly increase the speed of the grind, I think I'll take. So that one got a lot of regard. Rio is now nearly 4, Ofuna's nearly 4, and even Tamaki, while not quite as close as those two, is a lot higher. It was a very good stage outcome. Let's see, any progress toward these two? Well, a very tiny progress toward this one, but this one, not at all. I think I'm gonna run in circles to see if I can... Actually, no. Rush battles are good, too. But But after this one, I think I'll run in circles until I get a treasure storehouse stage, because I feel like those are the most likely to have the winning post materials, and those are what I really need, even more than the Atelier ones. I don't get a huge increase to the regard with every character here, I'm gonna be so mad. Because I am using these non-stop. Pretty much what these rush battle stages are. They are probably the single individual best stages for grinding regard, because you can constantly non-stop refill your skill, your special skill, and then your hero skills refill much faster as well, because there's just constant enemies around you spawning in a small square. Very, very easy to constantly rack up enough KOs to reset your special attack every 10 seconds or so. And that is perfect, because when your special attack resets, that's effectively a reset for your hero skills as well. And the more hero skills, the more regard. It's a perfect rotation, and this stage is great for that. Now let's see how much we get. Oh, let's go. Okay. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Exactly what I was hoping for. Now all of them are perfectly set up to where in at least 2 more battles, we should get them to max. And then it will be time to go through the hero cards and fill those out with the necessary perks for future characters. And I assume I didn't get anything for these. Not surprising. Rush battles are not the ones you want to be doing for materials in particular. They are mostly useful just for experience, kind of money, but not really, and regard. Regard's what they're really best for. Almost forgot to grab the orb. That would have been a massive mistake. Those free resets, the most useful thing in this entire game. And unlike Honoka, they're not just a chance, they're guaranteed. And while they don't drop after every base capture, they do most of the time, and that's enough to make them absolutely worth going after anytime you see them.
手強い敵であると認めます。任せて。いいとこ見せちゃうよ。鬼に食らいましょう。褒める。花飛びで結果オーラ。食べれば楽勝よね。よし、やったな。
Yeah, like I said, not always, but usually. No hero skill orb here this time, so no free reset. But more often than not, they will appear. I believe it's particular types of enemy bases that drop them. I believe it's the ones with the diamond shape, which are the most common bases. However, you're probably gonna be... It doesn't take long to capture a base, so might as well even capture the ones that don't have those. Because in the process, you'll also be killing enemies. And when you kill enemies, that increases your special attack meter. And increasing the special attack meter means a free reset every once in a while. And even if it's not a full reset, the partial reset from using your special attack is still extremely helpful to keeping perfect uptime on your hero skills. The more consistent you can keep those up, the better. I don't think this one match will be enough for to get Rio up to confidant rank, but it's not impossible that it could. Hopefully it does, but I doubt it. Oh no, never mind. It does, but just barely. And Opuna and Tamaki aren't quite there. Even though I said that immediately after reaching that final rank with her, I would swap characters, but Opuna's so close, and so is Tamaki, I might as well do a tiny bit of grinding on the other ones. Just very quickly. Yeah, at this point, that means that the stream, the original stream goal is a complete success. It even happened significantly faster than I expected. I was gonna be honest, I was expecting it to go longer than the last two streams. I was expecting it to well surpass the 4-hour mark to get those last two, because I did have about half of the characters left, but doing that within 3 hours, technically less than 3 hours, is pretty good time. In fact, a fantastic time. This was a very successful stream, and I hope the future ones also end up going this fast. As long as I can average a single character max regard fully every 2 streams, I'll be satisfied. Will that happen every set of streams? Probably not, but as long as it happens frequently enough to be relatively consistent, then I'll be satisfied. So this one, easy success. despite the admittedly very quiet stream, not much talking for myself, and not much activity in the chat, still think this is a very good stream, very, very successful. As I've said in the past, my goal with these streams was largely just I play these anyways, and I like capturing footage for them, so might as well stream it. And from that perspective, absolutely a massive success of a stream. I met my goal, my gameplay goal, and I got footage of it while I was at it. Very, very successful. The perfect combo. Getting so many in a row. Again, not the most interesting to actually do, but it is very effective toward getting regard, so getting those hero skill resets, despite not being the most fun to pull off, it's very tiring. It is the most efficient way to get all of that stuff, so the more resets I get, the better. a lot of hero cards. And they are all completely worthless. But yeah, this is a menu that when you're doing this type of thing, you have to enter quite often. Clearing out hero cards is a bit obnoxious. I'm not sure, I've never checked, but whether there is or isn't, I have not seen it. I wish that there was an ability to just automatically discard any cards of a certain rank, like any C ranks, any B ranks, because they really are just completely useless, unfortunately. And now we have gotten all characters that are required to max, plus 2 bonus characters. So very, very nice. Very good. That leaves technically 2 characters remaining that require max. Sethna, of course, who is already here, and Shiki. However, as I said before, these 4 are effectively bonus characters. They aren't necessary to actually max out, because of the fact that they do not get any special conversations or hot spring events. They effectively don't exist. They are fake. They're not crossover characters, except Okuna, but he was a pre-order bonus originally, so they did not make any kind of special interactions for them. They are pretty much filler characters, which means that now we can swap to a new character, finally. Oka has grown on me. She's not my least favorite character, but can't say she's one of my favorites either. She has a very simple, basic playstyle, and a rotation that is somewhat slow, and definitely very tedious. She has a 1 attack that's pretty much her best, and a 2nd attack that is not quite as good, but still not bad. Absolutely viable to use, but... Oh, but I did get a... I'm going to assume that that is the last necessary hot spring event for that. Are the Anthros original to this game? Also, hi. Hello, Ellie. Yes, they are. These 4, Shiki, Setsuna, and Tamaki, are all original to this game. They are only in this game, not crossover characters, and... They decided to go out of their way to not give them any special interactions. There are special events associated with getting max confidant rank between every other character, except these 3, and also Okuna, but he's kind of a special case. He's not technically a base game character, but these 3 are, and yet even they don't have any special interactions. They kind of just exist. Means that while I still do plan to eventually max them out, just for the sake of full completion, it's not technically necessary by my own rules of what I consider completion, which is full gallery completion. So I can just swap characters now. In fact, I will do that. The next one on the list that I set up is Kasumi. So I will be switching to her. She's also not a character I'm particularly in love with the playstyle of. She's not terrible. I like her a bit more than Oka at least, but not the most effective, a bit slow, not the best for juggling either. Her single target abilities aren't great, but she is the next in the list, so... I don't think I'm gonna start any actual fights with her this time around. This stream goal is done. But next stream absolutely will be the Kasumi stream. However, before ending, not quite done with everything yet, because I said earlier that I wanted to set up the hero cards for every character. That way we can immediately swap to them later on, and I think I will be doing that right now. Acrobat, always necessary. Double Edge, another one that's extremely useful. Materials Hunter, not always necessary, but is very good for the current things that I'm going for. And then the single most important one, Dragon's Oracle. Without this one, my rate of regard increase is significantly slowed. And now I just need to do that for every character, or at least every character that I have their 4-slot card unlocked with. Technically, I do have it for most characters. The way you get it is by doing their final request, which I have done for everyone, but for a few of them, I accidentally threw away the card. I can still get them very easily next New Game Plus run, so it's not too much of an issue long term. But it does mean that there are going to be a couple characters that I can't set up this moment, even though I would absolutely love to. Fearless Hunter. Not gonna bother setting up the characters that I've already finished maxing out regard with. Yukimura is one of those, so for these ones I will just skip them. But I would normally just apply them to every character. Not too hard to get the materials and gold required to equip every one of these on every character. So I would recommend to anyone who makes the terrible decision of 100%ing this game. These are the 4 skills that you want. Acrobat, Materials Hunter, Double Edge, and Dragon's Oracle. With those, and your experience will improve significantly. It'll go from a 1 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10, but that is still quite a bit better. Double Edge, Heroes Hunter, and Dragon's Oracle. Almost equipped the wrong one. That would have been a disaster. Especially since that last one I needed to equip was the most important one. And that is every available hero card equipped with their optimal attributes. Now, time to actually equip them on everyone. Xiaoyun. Wait, you already have it. You do as well. Tsunari Ishida. Atarai. You also already have yours. Darius. Tokitsugu. Mariro. And I believe Volgarna, she did not have hers, so I'll have to add hers next time. Next New Game Plus run, I will prioritize getting the hero cards of the characters who I accidentally threw away the cards of this time around. Luckily, not too many are like that, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but for now, here, another one that I believe also, yeah. Yes. And these four don't have theirs. And so, time to save. Gonna rotate saves as well, just for next time. And that is everything. OKA is pretty much fully filled out, aside from the bonus characters that I won't count. Aside from those, everyone is full. So the stream goal has been met. Oh yeah, and next time will be the Kasumi stream, where we'll just do the same thing, but it's time for her. And she will be a slightly more of a pain in the ass one. She has very few, literally no confidants, and only 3 that are even above associate, so this one may take a bit longer, but hopefully it'll still fit within the 2 stream per character goal. And let's check one last time. Let's check the events in the gallery. Yukimura is up to a ton. 19 out of 51, 15 out of 51 for Hajime. Yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. Hot Spring events also going alright. Bit slower, but not too bad. Oh shit, I did not ever get this one for Nobunaga, so I guess I'll have to go back and play a little bit more of him eventually, just for the hot springs. Will be the end of the stream. Very, very successful stream. And surprisingly, the goal was met fairly quickly, almost exactly 3 hours. So that's very good, because taking into account the first 15 minutes or so of the stream was at the starting soon screen, not actual gameplay. So in terms of just the actual gameplay, very, very successful stream. Thank you everyone who showed up. It was very fun. I don't know if I'll end up streaming tomorrow or Sunday. Usually I'm a bit more busy on the weekends. I may still be able to set aside time. On Monday though, depending on how well I've set up everything, Monday will either be yet another Warriors All-Star stream, the Kasumi one, or it may be the Donkey Kong Bongos Dynasty Warriors 2 stream. All depends on how much setup I end up fully going through with for that stream, because I will need to set up a couple more things for that, but if it all is ready by Monday, that will likely be the next stream. It was a very, very fun stream, relatively quiet one, but very, very much progress was made with the real objective, the game, so fun stream, very, very enjoyable. So have a nice day, everyone. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.